Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Usrajya Sarvata Sangam Vigyata Ajita Samstati Vayasake Jaha Shishya Gangayam Swam Kalevaram Visrajya Sarvata Sangam Vigyata Jita Samstatihi Vayasakir Chaha Sishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram Visrajya Sarvata Sangam Vigyata Jita Samstatihi Vayasakir Chaha Sishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram Visrajya Sarvata Sangam Vigyata Jita Samstatihi Vayasakir Chaha Shishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram. Please chant.
Vyasakir Jaho Shishyo Gangayang Sankalevaram Utsritya Sarvata Sangam Vingyata Jitta Samstatihi Vayasakir Jaho Shishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram
Utricya Sarvata Sangam Vigyata Jita Samstitaha Vaya Shaktir Jaho Shishyo Gangayam Svakalevaram Usrija Sarvata Sangam Vigyata Jita Samstitihi Vaya Sakir Jaho Shishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram Utsaya Savata Sangam Vijanata Jita Samstati Vaya Sakir Jaho Sisyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram
Utsrija Sarvata Sangam Vijata Jita Samstitihi Vayasakya Jaho Shishyo Gangayam Swam Kaliyeva
Utrija Sarvata Sangam the Samstitihi Ayasakya Jaho Shishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram.
Are there any devotees online? Okay. Vasrija. After leaving aside Sarvata, all around, Sangam, association, Vigyata, being understood, Achita, one who has never conquered the personality of Godhead, Samstiti, actual position, Vayasake, unto the son of Vyas, Jaha, gave up, Shishya, as a disciple, Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges, Swam, his own, Kalevaram, material body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyas, Sukadeva Swami, and thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead. Report. The word Ajita is significant here. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is known as Ajita, or unconquerable, and he is so in every respect. No one can know his actual position. He is unconquerable by knowledge also. We have heard about his dham, or place, eternal Goloka Vrindavan, and there are many scholars who interpret this abode in different ways. But by the grace of a spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami, unto whom the king gave himself up as a most humble disciple, one is able to understand the actual position of the Lord, his eternal abode, and his transcendental paraphernalia in that dham, or abode. Knowing the transcendental position of the Lord and the transcendental method by which one can approach that transcendental dham, the king was confident about his ultimate destination, and by knowing this, he could leave aside everything material, even his own body, without any difficulty of attachment. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Brahm Drishtva Navartate, one can give up all connection with material attachment when one is able to see the param, or the superior quality of things. From Bhagavad Gita, we understand the quality of the Lord's energy that is superior to the material quality of energy. And by the grace of a bona fide spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami, it is quite possible to know everything of the superior energy of the Lord, by which the Lord manifests his eternal name, quality, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. Unless one thoroughly understands this superior or eternal energy of the Lord, it is not possible to leave the material energy. However, one may theoretically speculate on the true nature of the absolute truth. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit was able to receive the mercy of such a personality as Sukadeva Goswami. Jai Shri Shri Gaura Nitai. And thus he was able to know the actual position of the unconquerable Lord. It is very difficult to find the Lord from the Vedic literatures, but it is very easy to know him by the mercy of a liberated devotee like Shukadeva Goswami. Lord Chaitanya taught his disciple, Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. When one is traveling throughout the universal creation of Brahma, and one becomes eager to know his actual position, he becomes eager to know the absolute truth, then Krishna sends him a bona fide spiritual master. And by the grace of that spiritual master, that fortunate soul receives Krishna. So this translation and purport contains in a nutshell the entire Krishna conscious philosophy. And the king Parikshit, he was cursed when he was a young man to die within 7 days. And he was the most fortunate emperor of the entire world. His kingdom was the entire planet consisting of 7 continents. So he decided to leave his beautiful wife and children, his elephants, horses, and other household paraphernalia. And he sat down on the bank of the Ganges. This word Gangayam in this sloka. Gangayam means on the bank of the Ganges. And without taking food or drink, Maharaj Parikshit heard Srimad Bhagavatam from his guru, Sukadeva Goswami. And there's a nice painting that was done by my god brother Murlidhar. It shows Sukadeva Goswami instructing Maharaj Parikshit on the bank of the Ganges. And we see that Maharaj Parikshit relinquished his royal garments. Maharaj Parikshit relinquished his association of aristocracy. He was born in an aristocratic family descending from King Kuru, the same family in which the Pandavas, all the Pandavas appear. But he relinquished all this, and before his spiritual master, he became just like an ignorant fool when he was asking him, what shall I do now? I have to die in 7 days. What shall I do? And Sukadeva Goswami's answers constitute the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the word Achita means that Krishna is never conquered by anyone material or anything material. But we learn from Satyavata Muni, who is the author of Sri Dhammatarashikam, which we have been reciting every day this month of Damodar, this holy month of Damodar, recite this Dhammatarashikam. And there, in the second and third slokas, it is said that although Krishna, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one is equal to or greater than him, but he can't be conquered by loving devotion. Krishna is conquered by love. Mother Yasoda, by her pure love for Krishna, he was able to bind Krishna. And Krishna cannot be bound by anything material, but he agrees to be bound by the love of Mother Yasoda. So it's very difficult to understand Krishna. By studying the Vedas, one cannot understand Krishna. But if one surrenders to the bona fide spiritual master, Krishna can be understood to a certain degree. Krishna is infinite, Krishna's energies are infinite, and Krishna is always increasing. Even Krishna himself cannot understand the full limit of his energies. But a devotee like Maharaj Pariksit, he was able to understand by hearing from the pure devotee, Shukadev Goswami, in service and submission. Even the demigods do not understand the actual position of Krishna. So Krishna, although he's the author of the famous Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself is very mysterious. He's not known by most academic scholars, but he can be known by bhakti, by devotional service. And in the purport it says that Krishna's Dham, Goloka Vrindavan, is not different from Krishna. Krishna's paraphernalia is not different from Krishna. Krishna's holy name is not different from Krishna. Krishna's devotees are not different from the Lord. And the king Pariksit was confident of his ultimate destination by the grace of his spiritual master. And in Bhagavad Gita, this word, or this phrase, Ram Dishtva Navartate, is described in the second chapter, verse 59. Vishaya Vidavartante Nara Rasa Dehina Rasa Rajam Rasa Pyasya Param Dishtva Navartate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada and purport. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, although the taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Purport. Unless one is transcendentally situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, etc., is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life, but such restrictions are only good if one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. This purport is very ecstatic here. Prabhupada describes matter as a dead material things. Just like this body is dead, because it's made of the material elements. Without the presence of the soul, this body cannot move nor have any consciousness. So the real life is the soul, and matter is dead. And Prabhupada also describes matter as a pale thing. When compared to the brilliant effulgence of Krishna's body, this material world is insignificant. And you and I also have the same constitution as Krishna in our original spiritual bodies. Chemically, your body and Krishna's body is the same, Satchidananda. The difference is God is great and you and I are small. Krishna's unlimited, you and I are limited. But just like the drop of seawater has the same quality as the great ocean, It's salty, but the drop of the seawater is different in quantity than the great ocean. And Maharaj Pariksit was cursed to die within 7 days by an inexperienced Brahmin boy. And this takshaka is a Sanskrit word. It means a snake bird. And this takshaka is a type of cobra that has the ability to fly in the sky. And this takshaka is also described in the ancient literature of China and Japan. And this takshaka is a son of Kadru, and Kadru is the wife of Kashyapa. And this Kadru had 1,000 children, and they were serpents. And Kashyapa Muni had 13 wives, and these two wives, Kadru and Vitana, were in a rivalry, and each wife wanted to have children who were more powerful than the other wife. Whereas Kadru had 1,000 children, Vitana had only 2 children, and his children's names of Vitana were named Garuda and Aruna. Garuda became the bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, and Aruna became the chariot driver of Vivaswan, the sun god. So ultimately, Vitana's children were more powerful than Kadru's, but the rivalry was always there. And one time, Kadru challenged her co-wife, Vitana, to answer a question. What is the color of the tail of Ujjayi-Shrava? Ujjayi-Shrava was the celestial horse that's described in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This Ujjayi-Shrava was produced of nectar, and it's a white horse that's a representative of Krishna. And Kadru asked, what is the color of Ujjayi-Shrava's tail? And Kadru was very wily and cunning, and she instructed her sons to wrap themselves around the tail of Ujjayi-Shrava. So when the serpent children wrapped themselves around Ujjayi-Shrava's tail, the tail became black. But Vitana said that the horse's tail is white. But by this trick, she was defeated. She lost the bet, and as a result, Vitana became the slave of Kadru. But later on, Vitana was rescued by her son Garuda. And one other time, Kadru and Siparna was another wife of Kashyapa. Kadru and Siparna disobeyed their husband Kashyapa, and they disturbed some stages who were performing sacrifice on the bank of the Ganges. Jai, Jisi Gornatai. And because they disturbed these sages who were performing sacrifice, they were cursed to become rivers. But later on, they were rescued by Kashyapa, and they were restored to their original bodies as wise. And one other time, Kadru wanted to take her sons to the sun planet to offer obeisances to the sun god, Vivaswan. And they employed Garuda for this task, but when these sons of Kadru approached the sun planet, they were burned up. And Vitana advised that Garuda should go get some water of the Ganges from the nether regions of the universe. So Garuda got some Ganges water, and the Ganges water was sprinkled on the sons of Kadru. And in this way, by the Ganges water, the sons were revived to their original position. So the Ganges water is very wonderful and potent. Ganges is the only river that's flowing throughout the solar universe, the higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. Anything the Ganges touches is sanctified, it becomes purified. So even in this day and age, there are many poisonous snakes like Takshaka. The bite of Takshaka is extremely poisonous because it's a cobra, and in America, there's one species of the cobra family that's in the southern states and the southwestern states. It's all over Florida. This is called the coral snake, and this snake is also poisonous. And each year on the planet, something like 100,000 persons are killed by snake bites. There are about 5 million snake bites every year, and out of those 5 million snake bites, about 100,000 are fatal. Most of these fatal snake bites are happening in India. And when Srila Prabhupada was in Mayapur, there were many cobras in the early days, especially many cobras in Mayapur. One time, Srila Prabhupada went to the bathroom, and there was a cobra in the bathroom. And Srila Prabhupada slammed the bathroom door shut, and the cobra was caught in the door. And the cobra was trying to bite Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada called one of his disciples who came and saved Srila Prabhupada. So these snakes are very dangerous, and their origin is Kadru, who is the wife of Kashyapa. And there's one island in the Atlantic Ocean. It's called Snake Island. It's still to this day, it's unexplored, because anyone who landed on Snake Island to try to explore it never lived to tell about it, because it's full of poisonous snakes. These snakes there are on the top of the food chain. So these snakes are a envious creature, and they're the disturbance all over the universe. This is one of the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Absolute Truth is the origin of everything, both good and bad. Are there any comments or questions? Yes, Rishi Kumar Prabhu.
I heard Radhanath Swami giving a class on the previous verse where it talked about how Maharaj Parikshit was fearless because he took shelter of the Lord. And he had mentioned that same point about how this snake had come up to where Srila Prabhupada was at the temple. And Radhanath Swami was mentioning how people are more scared of snakes than any other animal, because a big animal, you could, like a tiger or a lion or whatever, you can see it, but a snake, someone might step on it before they even notice it and get bitten. And he was saying with this instance with Prabhupada, somehow that cobra got all the way up to the 3rd floor of the temple. So how did it get there? Nobody knew, but I just thought it was interesting.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. Barari Prabhu.
I just remembered the story which you were saying about the horse, and there was one thing that who was the mother of the snakes? What was her name?
Takshaka.
No, the mother of the snakes.
Oh, okay.
The two sisters.
Oh, the mother of Takshaka is named Kadru.
Kadru?
Yes.
Yeah. So Kadru, actually, she doesn't have a truth in the color of the hair of the horse, which they were. But she ordered her sons, snakes, that they cover the hair of the horse, and then the other sister became the slave of her. Yeah. And then Garuda, he was so powerful, so he was asking her mother what is the course, how he can don't become as a slave of her sister, and so he went to them and asked them what he can do that her sister will be not the slave of the another sister. And so they tell him that he shall take Samaras from demigod. So Garuda went, and he was fighting with the demigod, because it was really like they tried to keep the Samaras, and but Garuda steal the Samaras, and he ran above all, and there he was Vishnu, and he was looking on him, what he's doing there, and he was glorifying Garuda, how he's powerful and that he was able to do such thing, and he was asking him that he would like to give him some benediction, and Garuda was saying that he want to be above Vishnu, and Vishnu said, okay, let it be. And Garuda was so pleased, and he was asking also some benediction from Garuda, and he said to him that okay, you be my career. So, but because the flag of Garuda is above, so it yeah, I was just remembering the story about Garuda and the snakes.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What we learned from Krishna book, that Garuda is fond of eating snakes, and Takshaka has siblings that included Kaliya and Vyasaki. And one of my godbrothers, Shankar Prabhu, he was one of the greatest gardeners in ISKCON. He was in charge of landscaping the property in Bombay, the big Juhu property, and he was also in Mayapur. And this godbrother Shankar, he lived in India for years and years, and he planted the coconut trees in Mayapur 50 years ago, and now those coconut trees are gigantic palm trees, and every devotee who visits Mayapur for the Garpanima festival enjoys the coconut juice and the coconuts from those coconuts that were originally planted by my godbrother Shankar Prabhu. And when Shankar was in Hyderabad, he chopped off the head of a cobra in Hyderabad, India. And later on, when Shankar went to sleep, this man attacked him with an axe and tried to cut off his head. And when he struck Shankar, the axe hit Shankar's chin instead of his neck. And to this day, you could see the injury on Shankar's chin when he was attacked by a man with an axe. And he said the reason is that the spirit of that dead cobra entered the body of a local man, and the cobra was trying to get revenge because Shankar beheaded this cobra. So the cobra was trying to get revenge by beheading Shankar. So these cobras have mystic powers. They're very, very wonderful and mystical creatures. It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So this week of October 31st, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 book distributors. So we will read their scores for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, the Sampradaya Acharyas, Tulsi Maharani, and Sri Sri Gauranitai. So, in 6th position, with 1 medium book, for 0.5 book points, Radhastali Devidasi. Haribo. In 5th position, with 10 small books, 2 medium books, 4 big books, 2 Maha big books, for a total of 11.5 book points, Maturnath Prabhu. Haribo. Also, so we have 7 book distributors. In 6th position, with 1 big book, Murari Prabhu. Haribo. In 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, in 4th position, with 7 small books, 5 medium books, 4 big books, and 4 Maha big books, for a total of 16.25 book points, Bhakta David Prabhu. Haribo. In 3rd position, with 4 magazines, 18 small books, 11 medium books, 12 big books, and 5 Maha big books, for a total of 32.4 book points, Magadari Prabhu. Haribo. In 2nd position, with 15 small books, 1 medium book, 8 big books, 12 Maha big books, for a total of 36.25 book points, Bhakta Avatar Prabhu. Haribo. In 1st position, with 4 Arabic small books, 1 Arabic Bhagavad Gita, 30 small books, 38 medium books, 30 big books, and 28 Maha big books, for a total of 130.5 book points, Rishi Kumar Das. And the RVC total for the week of October 31st is 4 Arabic small books, 1 Arabic Bhagavad Gita, 4 magazines, 80 small books, 58 medium books, 58 big books, and 51 Maha big books, for a total of 227.4 book points. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So I'll start with the highlight for the week. Me and Bhakta David went to the river market, and it was really ecstatic. And we talked to a lot of people. Oh, I think the coolest one. Oh, now I'm remembering one from the day before that, actually. But the coolest person at the river market, we saw this guy. There's this couple, and they looked like they were dressed like famous rock stars or something. So he asked them if they were rock stars, and the guy was like cracking up. He was like, "Well, kind of," and he was really excited about the books, and he took a bhakta stack. But I'm just remembering the most far out experience this week was Bhakta Avatar and I were leaving a Walmart, and a car was pulling in, or they were also leaving the Walmart, just driving away, and their window was rolled down, so we thought maybe they said something to us, but maybe they were just talking to each other. And we started talking to them and showed them the big stack, the Saptarishi set, and the whole family like freaked out. They were all really into it. But it became this whole thing, and they weren't able to get their credit card to work on the internet and all this stuff. But the son really wanted the books, so we gave them a small one, and we have his number. Hopefully we can invite them, because they put a lot of effort into trying to get the books. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Bhakta Avatar sent me a highlight on a message. He said a nice guy at the airport took a few books. He said that he noticed me on the flight, and he was excited to give a few books to his brother, so I gave him a few extra books. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Magadari Prabhu, are you able to tune in over the Zoom to share a highlight?
So we did some book distribution this week. I got to do some at the river market. There was also some distribution that I did at KU. That was pretty nice. And there was one guy, his name was Anson, and he was kind of like a hippie guy. And he just came up and he was just looking very puzzled, like, maybe this is exactly what I've been looking for. So he said he had our books from last time that we went to KU, but he wanted to talk, and I asked him to take an additional book. He did so, and we talked a little bit, and it was a nice exchange. He said he's into history and philosophy, and so I said the Srimad Bhagavatam is the pinnacle of both of those subjects. So hopefully we get in touch with him soon. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
Bhakta David, can you share a highlight of someone you gave books to? Do you have a microphone out there?
When Rishi and I we decided to go back one more time, and we grabbed, like, what's the big stack called again? Yeah, the Saptarishi. And I looked at him and I was like, man, like, people like will take all of these? And he's like, yeah. And so then we went up to the first person, like we were walking over there, and the first person we went up to, Rishi was all like, I started talking to him, and I guess they kind of knew each other, but he like handed him all those books and he put it in his hands. And we were talking back and forth, and the guy was really welcoming to all these books, and he really wanted them. And he was just like, I don't have it this week because I have to pay someone, but he's like, come to my stand next week and bring me these books, and I will take all of them. He even told us where like the stand was and everything and what he was selling. And honestly, although I didn't give him those books, I thought it was like, cause I literally just asked them that question, like, man, someone's going to take all these. And the first person we went to was like, yeah, no, give this to me next week. I'm going to have the money come to my stand. And it was right away. And so like, for me, that like inspired me like, wow, like, okay, these books can go. Cause it was right away. So that was a highlight for me.
I remember you gave out a lot of Bhakta stacks. Do you remember any specific person who took them?
Honestly, yeah, I'm blanking. Do you remember any of them? It maybe help me remember some.
I remember we ran into a lot of people in the area where they sell a bunch of fruits and vegetables on the side of the market. I think when I was getting preached to by some Christian guy, you got out a few books.
I did get out one book. That was really cool, actually. They didn't take a bhakti stack though, but they took one small book. But that was more like, I felt like that was a really like, I felt really good about that one too, because we were talking and it was like it was like a deeper conversation, I felt like, and it was a couple. And so I gave them one small book because they couldn't take the whole bhakti, like they wanted to give like a couple dollars. So I gave them a small book and they were really open to it. And then we started talking about, just like the area, cause they were from, I think like Indiana or something. So they were traveling back. I invited them to the festival, but they were traveling back to Indiana. But that was actually really nice too, because I think that was like one of the first ones that I did without you, you know? And so that felt really good too. And then after that one, I was able to go to a couple more people without you and feel a little bit more confident in terms of just distributing the books.
Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Maternath Prabhu, would you share a transcendental highlight?
Hare Krishna. I went out to KU, got to go out to KU and distribute some books. I had cooked for the devotees there in the van, and which was really ecstatic. And then I carried. We parked like we parked like at the bottom of this big hill at KU, and I cooked the prasad in the van, and then I carried like, it was like dal and quinoa, and like I carried the pot like on my head up this like really big hill to the devotees so they could take some nice prasadam. And then after we were done honoring prasadam, we started distributing, books again, and we ran into fellows that I think Magadari had met. They were of like Spanish descent, like maybe Mexican bodied, and they were really, really fired up to see us there, and like they were really excited. They were like, "Whoa, like I've met you before," and it was just one of them at that time, and then he told his friend, and his friend came back, and he like was really happy to see us, and his friend, neither of them I don't think took books at that time because they already had, but they took prasadam, which was pretty cool. Oh yeah, there was an astrophysicist that I distributed to that was asking a lot of nice questions about like cosmology and our view of creation. So that was a nice interaction too. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Haribo! Radha Stali Mataji, would you like to share a highlight?
Hare Krishna. I don't really have a highlight. The book that I distributed, she kind of asked for it, so it was really nice that I could be the instrument, I guess. So this devotee, she came here about a year ago and she said, "I remember you. Do you remember me?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember you." And she's like, she just was really excited to be here. And I just remember when I did meet her, no one was really talking to her. And so it just shows that our hospitality and our kindness to newcomers to the temple, it really means a lot to them. It leaves a nice impression and it brings them back. So that was like a nice realization I had, was I'm here because of a nice devotee. So anyways, she said, I really love Radha and Krishna. And I was like, okay, take this one. Because I was going to give her a Krishna book, but she already has it. So anyways, I gave her Nectar of Devotion, and I hope she reads it. Hare Krishna, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.